everyone. Welcome to our podcast. Hey, babe, guess what?
My name's Bryan.
And my name is Cora, and we'll be your host today. Since today is our first episode, we will be talking about how we first met and sharing some of our backgrounds so our audience can get to know us. Before we get started, we would like to remind any of you listening to hit the like button and subscribe if you liked what you heard and saw during this episode. So let's get into it, babe.
Let's get started. So, do you want to start or do you want me to start?
You can start like how did we first meet?
Sure. Let's start there. So I was single and I was online, uh, doing what online people do, and searching for somebody to ask to go out. And I had come across Cora's profile, and I thought she was very attractive, and so I thought it'd be worthwhile to reach out to her and try to see if she'd go out with me. And I think if I recall correctly, we had maybe one or two messages back and forth or something, and then I basically didn't hear back from her. So I can't remember the period of time between those messages, but for some reason, somehow we connected back up. She messaged me back or something to that effect. And it was after a period of time. And so we had a little more chit chat, and then I asked her to go out, and we met up for coffee on a nice hot day. I think it was in July.
Mm-hmm.
We sat outside for, I don't know, like 3 hours or something. And just talked and talked and talked. Headed off right away.
Yeah. I remember, well, first off, we met on Match.com.
Yeah, that's right.
And I had been on other dating apps, and I was actually, I'll preface it, I was going through a nasty divorce. Pretty nasty. And I decided we were separated and circumstances were what they were. And so I decided I was going to also date because the other person was already doing stuff. So I took it on myself to sign up for dating apps, and they'd kind of been a nightmare, although I participated and I went on lots of dates, and I kind of told myself that this is my time. Like, I deserve to go and have fun. And I really got tired of the apps. The different apps. I don't want to like call them out, but do you keep hearing that dinging sound?
Yeah, ring.
Okay, I put it on Do Not Disturb. Sorry, this is just real life here. My sister keeps texting me, and I put it on Do Not Disturb. So anyway, this is like real life right now. So I signed up for Match.com, and Bryan was the only. I mean, of course, you look through all the profiles and stuff, and Match.com is really, it's like, if you're serious in finding a real relationship, I feel like that's where people go. Those are
the other things too. You had you thought it was something that was faulty, right? You had like 100 messages, then 200, then 1,000, and
no. When I signed up for Tinder, the first hour, it shot up to 1,000 like likes or whatever. I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird. And then the second hour is like 2,000, and by like the third hour is like 5,000. And I'm like, I thought the app was broken because I'm 52.
That's the difference between men and women.
I'm 52.
By thousands and thousands, and men might get one or two.
It's true, but it was exponential, the number, and I had put real pictures in. This was back then in 2018 when there wasn't like, I didn't have any apps for like fixing my face or making myself look, Anyway, so I was like, I'll just put these, the cutest pictures I could find. And, but I thought the app was broken. And then I think I looked it up, then I called my friend and she was laughing at me. But I thought Tinder was broken. My app was broken. And also, because I didn't know there was
that hot.
No,
Yes.
It's because I didn't do the age range. I didn't know you were supposed to like select the age range. So I literally probably had 18 to 99 on there. So I had the weirdest people on there. But Match.com, I mean, you have to fill out very detailed things about yourself and about what you're really looking for in the person. And it's if you're really looking for someone, I would suggest going on Match.com because
Sure.
um, this is how we matched up. And when I saw when he messaged me and I looked at of course I'm going to like deep dive his profile, right? Um, I thought that he was catfishing me because I didn't think he was real because of all the nightmare um, dates I had gone on. There were many. So I thought he was fake because I thought, here's this good looking guy. He's ripped, super attractive, like instantly attracted to you. Just, you already know, was instantly attracted. And you checked up all the boxes for me. And you were like saying you're an adventurous guy, you like to travel. These are the things that I never did. And I wanted to like participate in. And I really thought you were like a fake person that was trying to like, because I had gone on dates, and you can tell me your stories. I had gone on dates, and the angle of the photo, this person like meets like they're doing. I got there, and they had misrepresented themselves so many times, and yeah. So Match.com, and then we decided to meet up, and I didn't message you for a while because you'd messaged me. I kind of
It was
had
a pretty, it
I
was a pretty
looked
big gap.
I looked.
It was a substantial gap from the time we had just a
Yeah,
couple messages. Then there was a gap. I can't remember. Might have
yeah,
been
you
months
could have.
and months.
If I would have actually like responded to you, was because I thought you were fake. So if I had responded to you, I could have saved myself so much time from going on all these like
Or
these.
actually, didn't I? So I think what happened is I had sent you some messages. You responded. There was a gap, and then I sent you just a message out of the blue,
Yes, that's what it was.
like, "Hey,
You did. You reached
haven't
back
heard
out.
from you," or something, or it was something. It was an attempt to reconnect, and
You did a follow up.
you
You
know,
did. Yeah, you're a great salesman. You did a follow up. And then I realized, oh, I think this guy is real. And then it's crazy because we started like messaging each other on the app, then while the connection was like instant, and I was excited to go on a first date with you. And it was nice because you suggested coffee, and you don't drink coffee.
never had a separate cup of coffee in my whole life,
You're so
even though I
lucky.
used to own and run a coffee shop.
Yes, you did, which is so funny. But you don't have to consume it to actually like have a coffee shop. So
No, it was just give me a
um,
casual get together, a casual date.
yeah, I like that you made it casual, and it actually happened to be one of the hottest days in the summer of
It's not.
2018. It was, I
Definitely
think it was
was.
105, one of those record breaking ones. And I remember it was July 22nd, and I was like in line to get my coffee to order, and you came up behind me and you hugged me from like the side. I remember. I'm like, I jumped because I'm like, oh my God, who's touching me? I was like freaking out a little bit. And then I look up and I'm like, oh my God. It was like in my mind. I had to like play it cool. But I was like very excited when I saw you. And then we sat down outside and we talked, and it was so hot, but we were sitting under an umbrella. And it felt like 5 minutes, but 3 hours went by.
And Cora kept, like a mother, kept saying, "Are you sure you're not? You need to get out of the sun. We need to." She kept on suggesting, because I kind of given her the shade, and I was out more exposed than her because I was letting her sit in the shade.
It was killing me to look at you in the sun. I was like, I couldn't handle it.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm from Hawaii originally. I moved here to Oregon. I'm in Oregon, and Brian is in
I'm in
Arizona.
Arizona, but back then I
Yeah,
was in Oregon also.
yeah. So we're in a long distance relationship, which is another facet. But
Another layer to the onion.
yeah. So even though I'm from Hawaii, I'm a sun avoider, and so when I was seeing him in the sun, it was literally like that part of me that is a mom that tries to control everything and make everything good, and is everybody okay kind of thing, which I'm working on everyone. And Brian is helping me. Um, Yeah, it was. I must have asked you like a dozen times,
It was a
probably
bunch.
like, yeah, like a lot. And you're, I'm fine. And the way that you respond, I'm like, he's fine. What? But we had such a great conversation,
Yeah, we
and
talked for probably easily 3 hours,
yeah, it
easily.
was. Yeah,
And then I can't remember why we decided to call it quits, but I we kind of concluded the whole get together, and I walked you to her car,
yeah,
didn't kiss you, just gave you a hug and said, "Hey, let's go do something again soon."
yeah. I was very surprised, and I was actually delighted that you didn't like put any moves on me. Although I kind of was like questioning, wait, is something wrong with me? Like I thought, is something wrong with me? And then,
That's the sad thing. The sad thing about women in those
but
situations, that duality, right? Some
yeah,
guy is trying to be actually a good guy, and then women get all in their heads and, well, wait a minute, what's wrong with me? Did I not look good? Am I not kissable? All that crap.
yeah. I have to click on this because it says. Um, anyway, I hope this thing isn't on here the whole time. I don't. I am not good. Can you see what the thing at the bottom where it says this is an example of a banner?
Yeah,
Okay, I don't know how to get rid of this sucker. Please,
that's
somebody.
fine. It's no big
I
deal.
don't. This is going to be so ridiculous. We're gonna. This is an example of a banner,
It's
and I
not
keep
that big
clicking
of a
on it.
deal. Nobody cares.
Okay, I don't want it up here. Okay. Um, hide current banner.
Oh, there you go.
You know what? It's hilarious because this is actually real life here. And people are going to see this and crack up because, listen, I'm 52. I'm still trying to figure out technology. And I'm in a mentorship where there's so many young people. I'm in a membership called Sub 2, and I don't, I'm not very like technologically advanced. I didn't even realize that thing was down there. Somebody probably, it's hilarious. Anyway, it's
Not that
real.
big of a
It's real. But back to the date. Yeah, you didn't kiss me, and I'm thinking something's wrong with me. But I go home and I sent my girlfriend a, this is like, I used to have this app, Marco Polo. Remember, I was always on the Marco Polo.
always.
It was, sorry. I don't even know what happened to Marco Polo anymore. I don't know if that app exists. Who knows? Anyway, I sent her Marco Polo, and I thought I would have saved, but I didn't. About how I felt like a teenager, and like this is the guy, and like my heart was racing, and I was like, I'd never been excited to meet anyone before, and you're easy on the eyes, and so I was like, you checked all the boxes for me, and like all of it. So that's why I thought you were catfishing me, because I'm like, oh, it's just some fake profile guy, this guy can't be real. Like I really didn't think you were real.
And
Um,
they figured out that I was.
and I did. So that's
And the
how we
rest
met.
is here. Rest is history. So now here we are, 5+ years later.
Yes,
We dated for a short, brief period,
5 months
and
probably.
then yeah, and then Cora um, was unsettled, and I think she can chime in here at any time. I think she will admit, and it's probably very fair to assess and to say that the relationship scared her, and that she had no clue what a real relationship was, or how to contribute to it, or how to be part of a successful, happy, healthy relationship whatsoever. So she basically pushed me away and blocked me a bunch of times, and then would call me and block me and call me and block me. And so over the last 5 years, we've stayed in touch when she was willing to stay in touch. So we haven't dated the whole entire time, but we've stayed in touch, and we're always friends and friendly. Um, but over the last year or so, we've kind of reevaluated. I didn't have to reevaluate anything. Cora reevaluated
You're
and
ready.
decided that she's going to be on Team Bryan, and we're going to give this thing a go. And so, ironically, even though back then I was trying to say, hey, listen, this is a good deal. Don't throw this away. Don't treat this casually, and treat this like it's something special, because it is.
Yeah.
Well, I ended up getting a different job, and I went down to Salinas, California for a while, and then it was now I'm down in Yuma, and so now we're in completely different, separate states.
Almost 2 years.
And trying to figure out. I think we both agree that Cora's probably going to move down here to Arizona, and we're going to pick up here and
Not in Yuma.
No, not Yuma, but
not that I don't want to.
And we'll probably make this our landing spot, and probably we're going to be until we retire, probably.
Yeah. And I have to say, in my heart, I'd always known that, look, I'm in love with you. I love this guy. But there was like a larger part of me that was stronger, that was so defiant and kept pushing you away. And Bryan has helped me over this past like year and a half, even almost 2 years, figure out, because we FaceTime like every day. And he has been my therapist, my best friend, and just like everything that you would ask for in a wonderful partner. And so when I opened myself up to that, like so many, I don't like to use this word, but it's what I feel like blessings started happening because I started to be more open-minded. I started to accept help. And Bryan, I've been trying to figure myself out, and he's been helping me with my challenges that I have. Because we all have childhood trauma. I mean, that's going to be we will do an actual series on childhood trauma. We could do it on narcissism. I have experience being in a relationship with a narcissist and knowing some. And so Bryan has helped me immensely in finding my voice, and I'm working on my confidence. So I think what I really want to highlight for people who they struggle in finding a partner, right? And, people say, oh, these apps and stuff. I think when you find the right one, like you were trying to tell me, you're like, don't mess this, we have something here. And I'm just like, I wouldn't listen because I was in a space where I felt like I had gotten out of the long marriage, 20 years married, 25 years together. We had 2 children. We have 2 adult children. But I felt like there was a part of me that felt like I deserved to party and have fun and do all these things that I kind of was like, I was restrained. I couldn't do anything. And so I felt like I deserved fun. I know it sounds silly, but, when I was a stay-home mom, and so I think part of it was I was trying to cut loose or whatever
you
want to call it. But Bryan had already had his fun in his 20s, 30s, 40s. And he was ready, and I wasn't ready yet. Most recently, I was talking to my sister back in April of this year, 2023. And I was telling her, I was just letting her know the great things about Bryan.
Need to give your sister a plug.
Yeah, my sister is single, everybody. If there's any single guys out there. She's a year older than me, so I don't know. We're in our 50s. She's in Hawaii, so it's a little bit of a challenge if you're not in Hawaii, on a small island. So, I lost my train of thought, but I don't know, what was I saying?
That's all right. No big deal. Okay. I think what's interesting about our situation, and what's particularly interesting about your journey, is if we take this 5 years and dissect it, watch you go in many ways being a junior high student and reacting and acting and responding like a junior high student.
I felt like a teenager, and my girls will attest to that. And I apologize to my daughters because I was like embarrassingly trying to recreate my youth again. But I was 47 at the time.
Uh-huh.
The way I dressed, the way I acted, the way I treated Bryan. Um, I was very reckless with everything.
But for whatever reason, something somewhere connected with you, and you, to your credit, you decided to revamp and advance and change, which is not easy. And
No, it's not.
so, over the last little while, you've tried to work hard and move away from those unsuccessful, unhealthy, unhappy strategies to something more successful.
Yeah.
So, that's definitely very good.
Oh, I know what I was going to say. My sister, when I was speaking to her back in like April, and I was telling her all the great qualities about you. And the thing is, I had never in my past, and boy, there was maybe like 5 or 6 girlfriends. I don't really speak to them, only just maybe one. Only because we've all moved on with our lives, because I think they're all great. Um,
Well, and the other piece too is once you started changing your mindset and started changing your attitude, you didn't have a lot in common with many of them.
yeah. And, you know, everyone has kids, but I'm a grandma. Like all my friends, the ones that I had were in their 30s, and or I think some of them are just turned 40. But I have another friend who's like around my age, a little older, and she's a grandma also. She's the only one. I just, we have different lives. And so I think we can still love someone and think the best for them. But we kind of like, my path is this way now, and I don't want to cry. But I always like, I want everybody, like the part of me that's mom, I want everybody to be happy. Um, so I would tell my friends like the worst things about Bryan. I was a complainer. I just
Well, and the worst
complained.
things that weren't necessarily true. It might
Yeah.
be a
Or
piece
one,
of
a tiny,
it,
yeah.
but it
And
wasn't
then,
the whole story. It was the piece of the story that would make me look bad. It
yeah.
wasn't the whole
And
story that would paint the real picture. And so
yeah,
you did your best to engage in strategies that you employed with your ex-husband, which is make sure that he's the enemy and make sure to get everybody in your camp and make
yeah,
sure that
yeah,
when you decide that you want to get out or make sure when you want to leave that everybody knows that he's the enemy and then they'll
yeah,
not look at you poorly. You'll be fine because I escaped the enemy. And so
yeah.
that's what you're trying to do with me. And I used to tell you all the time, hey, knock it off. I'm not your ex. Give me a
And
fair shot. Let me be my own guy. All these people that don't even know me, don't like me. They never even
yeah,
met me.
yeah. I for sure am working on my emotional maturity because I
Yeah.
had been very stunted. I think we all have very, I think in some sense, not everyone, but a lot of us have like traumas in our childhood, you know?
Everybody has trauma in
Yeah.
their childhood. Yeah.
And, I never resolved that. I brought that into my marriage, and my marriage compounded with what that was about. The struggles in that kind of compounded onto the childhood traumas. So when I met you, in my mind, although I had adult children, I'm going through divorce, I was running around like um, my therapist at the time called me unsupervised
Unsupervised.
Cora. That's what my therapist called me. And so that's what I was doing. And I would tell Bryan, you're not going to tell me what to do. And I kind of think about how I was back then, and I get just full of shame. I guess I shouldn't have shame, but I just get just like so much like regret. It's like, why did I say that? Why did I
Well,
do that? Why
and
was I
the
that
irony
person?
was you would have that reaction and tell me that I can't tell you what to do,
Yeah,
and I was never telling you what to do.
I know. And I'm telling you, literally, I don't like the word literally. Um, I was like a teenager, and you know, it's really hard to eat that shit sandwich, but it is what it is. And I treated you terribly. And when Bryan moved to California, like almost 2 years ago, right? Well, 2 years in like
Yeah,
February.
pretty close.
Yeah.
Pretty close.
But you're not there now. You're just there a year. I felt so like that's when like all of this like remorse just washed over me. And I thought, this great guy was here, just right down the road in the same state, and he's got a great job offer, and he's moving. And now I'm here because I'm here with my family, my children, my grandchildren, and my situation is that here for, I am here with my daughter and my grandkids. And so um, it was really one of those like just regret that I didn't. And I thought, okay, well, he's gone out of my life forever. I was just so heartbroken. And I'm like, I couldn't, like, I cried for days. I didn't tell you. Um, and so I realized, like, this man has moved on with his life. He's moved on. And I'm like, we're not going to be together. And oh my God, I'm not going to find somebody to love again because it's just too hard. It's just, it's so hard to open yourself up and be vulnerable. So yeah, I felt like, okay, I messed up. I messed up big time. Um, so you were living in a beautiful apartment in, was it Marina? Yeah. And I went down to visit once, and that was a little bit of nightmare because I still was pulling my teenage immature shit. But he had to talk me down and ended up having a great time. And he really bent over backwards to make sure I had a great time and that we spent time together. And yeah, so came back from that trip, and still it was kind of very tenuous because I was still being a shit. I was still not acknowledging the fact that I had to work on myself because I like to live in denial. And Bryan has helped me pinpoint.
You're the avoidant personality, and
Yeah,
so part of that issue is you're not going to be accountable. You're going to avoid that you have any responsibility. Of course, everything is fine with me. It's all the other people because you're going to avoid anything that has to do with you self-reflecting,
yeah,
self-analyzing, and then working on yourself. Because it's,
yeah,
I mean, that kind of work, of course, you're going to avoid that like the plague, right? And of course, the
yeah,
relationship you're going to avoid because that scares
yeah,
you. And then you're going to
yeah,
avoid being vulnerable because that scares you. And you're going to avoid being exposed because that scares you. It's all that avoiding, all that fear, that life of fear. It just, it's not productive for sure. And certainly doesn't
no,
produce anything positive
no.
for sure.
And I felt like when I got back, I kind of had a breakdown. And um, I think life sometimes for me, it's like I get overwhelmed, and having this avoidant personality disorder, behavior, whatever it is, um, it can easily spiral into like depression and anxiety. And when I start recognizing things about myself and like, okay, it's part of this, and I have to just pause and take a minute and try to like work through it. And the one thing that helps me is you guys having an amazing partner like Bryan.
Well,
He
you just got to be willing to talk through that kind of stuff on both sides, right? I'm willing to talk to you
Yeah.
about anything. I mean, I don't care.
Well,
I
he
mean,
cares
I
about
shouldn't
me,
say that I
and
don't care. I do care.
yeah,
It doesn't matter to me what subject we talk about. I'm open to talk about anything. On
that's
your
yeah,
side, if in any partnership, communication is key. Communication is one of the massive pillars that make or break relationships. And so if we can chat about that stuff and talk through it, then we have a higher likelihood of being successful.
yeah. Well, if you can hear my grandkids scream.
I can hear them.
Okay, she might be saying some. Okay, I have to just. Sorry, this is live, everyone. So,
You get to experience the grandkids.
yeah,
Well, a bit off topic, but still on topic. This podcast, this YouTube channel, or whatever it is that we're going to turn this thing into, we are going to cover the spectrum of topics. We're going to talk about grandkids. We're going to talk about money. We're going to talk about sex. We're going to talk about relationships. We're going to talk about love. We're going to talk about everything under the sun, pretty much.
being in our 50s.
Or,
I'm going through menopause.
Right. We're going to talk about health and exercise,
childhood
and
traumas. Yeah.
our title's kind of a reference to a joke that I used to tell Cora all the time. It's kind of just stupid, but I used to ask her all the time, "Hey, babe, guess what?" And she'd go, "What?" And I'd say, "Chicken butt," or I'd make some other stupid thing. But anyways, that's
Yeah.
we're going to talk about everything, and that's where we got our title from.
Yeah. I think it's so sweet. And he made me a book, and that's what the title was. I have to go find it. It's in storage, so we can share it one day.
You can order it
Um,
on Amazon.
huh?
You can order it on Amazon.
You can order on Amazon, everybody. Oh my gosh, I forgot. I totally forgot. Um, I think that probably, like, maybe we should wrap it up. I don't know.
It's up to you. We got lots of other episodes to cover, so we can certainly um, wind this down for sure. We can
Yeah.
talk for a few more minutes. We can do whatever we like. There's no rules.
Yeah. I think also, before we make a quick end here, I think what we want to do is kind of really highlight the fact that you can have a successful, loving relationship and work on it. And we're doing it long distance. We FaceTime every day. I try to visit like every quarter. That's what's kind of been happening, sort of. But I think if you just you find a great person, and it's not easy, and everyone has their shortcomings, and everyone nothing relationships aren't perfect, but I think you would always tell me you have to be willing. You have to be willing to put in the work. And I wasn't willing back then, but when my sister, I'll just bring it full circle. When my sister, I talked to her back in April, and I was telling her all the great things about Bryan. Um, she was like, "Oh my gosh, she sounds like she was just loving all of it." And it clicked for me where I'm just like, I am fortunate and I want to commit to being in this relationship with Bryan. And I want to move down to Arizona so I can be with him, even though I have grandchildren and I have my children up here in Oregon. I will figure it out. We'll figure it out because we want to be together. And this is like a part of my life where I've never done something for myself because I've always done things for others. And what was holding me here in Oregon is, which still does, um, it's where that mothering kind of like that. I feel like, oh, I have to be here. But you guys, I have
Well,
adult children.
if,
They can,
if you're honest, a big piece of it's probably fear, right? It's
yeah,
avoiding change. A lot of avoidant people don't like change because change is a scary thing. So, moving on to this next chapter and practicing things that are way more conducive to creating more positivity in your life instead of negativity. Certainly, I want to see your grandkids. You want to see your grandkids. I don't know exactly how often that's going to happen, but we certainly want to incorporate that. We certainly want to travel. We certainly want to do all kinds of things.
yeah,
Of course, we're not independently wealthy, so we got to figure out the finances and logistics and all that kinds of things. But that's going to be part of
and
our struggle. And that's going to be part of what we talk about.
yeah,
Part of what we'll share. Part of what we'll have. We'll of course connect with each other over, but maybe all of our audience, you guys have maybe gone through the same stuff and same struggles and same
yeah.
circumstances. That's
I
why
just,
we share all the stuff.
yeah, I want to be able to help because I think a lot of people, when you reach like 50, sometimes you feel like giving up and you think, no, there's no, I'm fine. But, you know, if you're open to it, you can really find somebody that you can spend your life with, the rest of your life with. So I think that's a good end for our first intro.
Okay, so I guess if we're going to cap this off, we'll do our little exit speech here to let you guys all off the hook, and we'll see you on the next episodes. We would like to thank all of you for watching and listening to us today. For those of you that would like to get in touch with us, we'll link the different ways to do so. You guys can feel free to leave a review if you'd like. Don't forget to follow the show on your favorite streaming platforms and follow us online on YouTube, on what's the other one, Spotify, on what else
Yeah.
are we going to do?
We're going to have Facebook.
Oh, Facebook. Anyway, so just follow us
And the
on that
TikTok.
stuff. You guys can, whatever your favorite is. And
Yeah.
then that way you can stay up to date on the latest news and episodes.
Yeah.
We thank you guys for sharing on our journey today. And hopefully we'll see you guys on the next episode.
Sweet.
All right. Love you, babe.
Love you too.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.